Senator, after hours of questioning, what are the biggest red flags that you see, the biggest concerns that you still have about this project?
Well, let's start with the fact that I think blockchain technology, distributed ledger, and even the possibility of cryptocurrencies has some real positive upside. But I think we have to be careful, particularly when we're talking about the possibility that Facebook might dominate this otherwise very disruptive technology. Facebook's already got 2 billion users. It has all these built-in advantages. We've seen Facebook over the last decade plus do what I call catch and kill, where any new entrant into the marketplace, Facebook would either copy or they go out and directly acquire. And here you had this blockchain technology that might be able to come and disrupt. And again, it appears that Facebook is using the same strategic effort to say, let's bring some other players in, create this Libra network, and then use their market power to create the wallet where a lot of the transactions would take place. They call it Calibra, and my fear would be they would give their wallet solution, Calibra, a great deal of undue advantages. And frankly, Mr. Marcus today, I know he wanted to clarify, but it seemed like some of these questions should have been yes and no. And I came away with still a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Right, so you weren't satisfied with David Marcus's answers today, it seems. What would your message be then now to Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook?
Well, my message would be, blockchain offers an awful lot of possibilities, but you have a burden of proof, Facebook, to make sure, one, that they get it right in creating this new network. Two, that it's safe. I thought Mr. Marcus's comment that for every, in a sense, crypto dollar, there would be a real dollar or another currency on a one-to-one basis backing it up. That smacked of the absurd when there's no such kind of even requirements within a banking system. It seemed to me as well, where you've had Facebook not be a good steward of so much personal data already, the idea that they would create this new network and not build in implicit and explicit preferences for their own product really strains credibility. I was glad to hear Mr. Marcus say that if a third-party wallet came around and somebody wanted to not use the so-called Calibra Facebook product but wanted to use a third party, they would be willing to transfer the keys, transfer the data, do the other technical transfers to that third party. That was a good sign, and my hope would be, as somebody who's got legislation that I'm about to drop, bipartisan legislation that would talk about data portability and interoperability within their existing networks, my hope would be that Facebook would bring that same kind of supporting approach to the legislation that I'll bring forward for their existing tools.
So, look, there were a lot of issues that came up, adjacent issues that Facebook has been dealing with. Facebook, misinformation, election hacking, fake news. Would you like to see Mark Zuckerberg testify before Congress on Libra specifically, and again on some of these other issues? Well,
here's the circumstance with Facebook, and my office works with Facebook on a regular basis, and we are trying to get them, and we've made some progress. They've made progress, for example, on some of the disclosure requirements around Facebook-based political ads, the same way we'd have disclosure around TV or radio ads. But there are a whole set of other technical issues. My background was in telecommunications, was in technology longer than I've been in politics. So I hopefully bring a little bit of expertise here where we can bring more transparency to this marketplace, whether it's about data valuation, whether it's about data portability and interoperability. They have yet to be willing to kind of lean in and really acknowledge what they'd be willing to support. Mr. Zuckerberg has been willing to say, that he realizes there needs to be some rules of the road for Facebook in its current applications. What we've not seen yet is that level of specificity of which rules of the road they'd actually accept. So before we open up this whole new area that could have transformative efforts on the way we transact business in terms of blockchain and cryptocurrency, Facebook's got some, I think, proving that they're willing to accept certain rules of the road or regulation around their existing products before we go into this whole new realm.